G'day everyone, welcome back to Stratix. It's officially June 1st. Look, before we get started, I'm gonna take the L right now for last month's preview video. I somehow missed dozens of games on the May release slate and had to put up a pinned comment of shame that read like a CVS receipt. So to avoid another disaster, I'm officially changing the format of these monthly videos from now on. This isn't a catch-all release calendar where I tried to list everything. It was just too hard and just impossible for me to notice everything. So these are my top 20 picks for the month. These are titles I actually think are worth your time, or at least worth criticizing. As always, if you want to skip these type of videos and want to watch raw gameplay, head over to my secondary channel, Stratix Gaming. I'll definitely be uploading sooner or later. I'll try my best, but I'm just focused on this channel right now. But anyway, let's get into my top picks for June. Kicking off the list at number 20 is the obligatory corporate cash grab of the month. Monopoly Star Wars Heroes vs. Villains. Look, it's Monopoly, but virtual and with lightsabers. What you can expect is the exact same board game that ruins friendships, just reskinned with Disney's finest. It's dropping on literally everything on June 11th. It'll probably sell 5 million copies on name recognition alone, but hey, if you need a digital board game for game night, it makes the list. Coming in at 19, we have Konami trying to capture the new Nintendo hardware crowd with eFootball Kickoff. Launching June 3rd specifically for the Switch 2, this is essentially their massive free-to-play football ecosystem ported over to the new hybrid console. Expect heavy monetization and gacha mechanics for team building. I don't usually cover mainstream sports titles, but since it's one of the early competitive games hitting the new Switch, it's worth putting on your radar. At 18 is an indie adventure game called Calex, dropping on PC on June 4th. This is one of those atmospheric, narrative-driven single-player experiences that usually flies entirely under the radar of mainstream gaming journalism. Expect a lot of exploration, puzzle solving, and a uniquely stylized world. If you want something that isn't a 100-hour open world checklist, this looks like a solid palate cleanser. Number 17 is Dench Attack, hitting current-gen consoles and PC on June 17th. This is a weird, chaotic blend of platforming and racing. You're essentially navigating these high-speed levels with a very arcadey feel. Bright colors, high replayability, and leaderboards that will humble you in seconds. It looks like exactly the kind of game you boot up when you only have 30 minutes to play and want pure gameplay without cutscenes getting in the way. At 16, releasing June 16th for PC, we have Copa City. This isn't your standard FIFA clone, it's a sports strategy simulator where you're organizing massive football events and managing the city infrastructure around them. Think City Skylines meets stadium management, you handle crowd control, fan zones, and logistics. It's a really unique take on the sports genre that actually requires some brain power. At number 15 brings us to Blood West Scavengers on June 3rd for PC. The original Blood West was this incredibly tense stealth horror FPS with immersive sim elements. Scavengers expands on that heavily. Expect crunchy retro graphics, terrifying monster designs, and a gameplay loop that rewards patience and punishes running in guns blazing. If you like classic Thief or Stalker, this is right up your alley. At 14, dropping June 4th on PC, is the House Flipper Remastered Collection. I know, it sounds funny to put a cleaning simulator on a top pick list, but hear me out. I recently hit the 100-hour mark wrapping up the story in Starfield on my PS5, and honestly, my brain is fried. I struggle to play anything super heavy right now. Sometimes you just want a chill game where you can turn your brain off after work, listen to a podcast, and paint a virtual wall. Number 13 is Kawaii Tecmo doing what they do best, re-releasing old games at full price. Dead or Alive 6, Last Round, hits PC, PS5, and Xbox Series on June 25th. It's an updated version of the 2019 fighter, packing in updated graphics, previously paywalled DLC fighters, and then an expanded photo mode. The combat has always been mechanically fantastic, if you look past the obvious fan service, but it's hard not to be a bit cynical about their business model here. At 12, releasing June 11th on PC and all current-gen consoles, is Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions. Expanding on the Astroneer universe, this is a beautiful space exploration and survival crafting game. Expect terraforming, base building, and navigating hazardous planetary environments. If you're a sci-fi fan who prefers resource management over shooting aliens, this is a remarkably relaxing, vibrant experience. Number 11 is Solarpunk, landing on PC on June 8th. The survival crafting genre is usually full of grim, dystopian futures, but this flips that entirely. It's set in a technologically advanced utopian world of floating islands. You're building your home, farming, managing renewable energy sources, and exploring on an airship, again leaning heavily into that chill, low-stress gaming vibe. Breaking into the top 10, we have the 7th Guest remake dropping June 4th. If you were gaming in the 90s, you remember the original FMV puzzle horror game that forced everyone to buy a CD-ROM drive. This remake completely overhauls the visuals, transforming the Haunted Mansion into full 3D, while keeping the incredibly cheesy ghost puzzles intact. Pure nostalgia bait, but I'm here for it. At number 9 is R-Type Tactics 1 and 2 Cosmos. Launching June 18th across basically every platform, this bundles two classic PSP turn-based strategy games built in the R-Type universe, completely remade with modern graphics. If you like hex grid strategy and commanding massive fleets of sci-fi ships, this is an incredibly deep tactical experience that's been trapped on legacy hardware for way too long. Number 8 isn't a standalone game, but it's my pick for the best DLC of the month. Dave the Diver in the Jungle hits PC on June 18th. The base game was a massive hit, blending deep sea spearfishing with a sushi restaurant sim. This major update takes Dave out of the blue hole and into a lost jungle environment, introducing new mechanics, new creatures, and fresh restaurant recipes. Add 7 is another massive expansion, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. The Infinite Museum, releasing June 11th, Rogue Trader is already a staggeringly deep CRPG, and this DLC adds brand new archetypes, companions, and a huge storyline focused on an ancient, corrupted museum ship drifting through the warp. Arcat Games rarely misses when it comes to massive narrative injections. Coming in at number 6 is The Adventures of Elliot the Millennium Tales. Published by Square Enix, this looks like a heavy spiritual successor to the Octopath Traveler style of RPGs. Expect stunning HD 2D visuals, turn-based combat, and a deeply narrative-driven party system. I'm almost 30 and these classic feeling JRPGs just hit that nostalgic sweet spot perfectly. At number 5 we have Esports UFC 6, hitting PS5 and Xbox on June 19th. Look, EA needs to collect their annual tax. I honestly can't wait for the mainstream gaming sites to slap an 8 out of 10 on this because the fighter models have slightly more realistic sweat, while completely ignoring the inevitable microtransaction hellscape in career mode. But for MMA fans, it's the only game in town. Number 4 is a huge pick for Nintendo fans. Star Fox is getting a full ground up remake for the Nintendo Switch 2 on June 25th. Based largely on the legendary Star Fox 64, this revisits the absolute apex of the series. They're ditching the weird motion controls of the Wii U era and giving us the pure on-rails arcade shooting that made the franchise great. It's been a massive dry spell for this IP. At number 3, releasing June 3rd, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's finally breaking its PS5 exclusivity and launching on the Xbox Series X and S and on the Switch. As a PS5 player, I'm actually glad everyone's getting a chance to play this. I think we need to drop exclusives, but that's just my opinion. You're definitely getting one of the best action RPGs of the generation. It's massive, the combat is fluid, and it's a huge win for Xbox and Nintendo players. The runner-up at number 2 is Hell Let Loose Vietnam. The original World War II Hell Let Loose is a masterclass in 50 vs 50 tactical warfare where communication is literally life or death. Shifting that punishing gameplay loop to the dense jungles of Vietnam is dripping with potential. Honestly, I prefer watching this kind of god tier combat rather than playing it and stressing myself out. But it's going to be massive for the hardcore shooter community. Let's just hope the servers stay populated longer than Concord's 14-day lifespan. I'll never let them live that down. And finally, my number 1 pick for the June 2026 is the Gothic 1 remake. THQ Nordic is completely rebuilding the legendary 2001 open world RPG from the ground up. The original was notoriously clunky but had a deeply reactive world and unparalleled atmosphere, modernizing the combat and bringing the colony to life for modern consoles. If you love dark, gritty fantasy RPGs where the world genuinely doesn't care about you, this is one to watch. Before we wrap up, I need to talk about what's happening outside of the actual release calendar because June is Summer Game Fest month, and the rumor mill is spinning out of control. First, on the confirmed update front, if you're playing Esports FC 26, they're dropping a massive 48-team international tournament mode update on June 4th to line up with the real-world events. And for the survival crafting crowd, we're hearing strong rumors that Powerworld will be dropping a reveal trailer for their highly anticipated Update 4 around June 22nd. But the real hype is Summer Game Fest and Sony's State of Play. Marvel's Wolverine from Insomniac is going to be front and center at the PlayStation Showcase with an actual unedited gameplay deep dive. There's also a massive rumor floating around that FromSoftware is gonna announce a brand new pirate-themed game, because clearly Miyazaki decided we needed to experience getting one-shotted by a boss while simultaneously dealing with scurvy and naval combat. Like I said, I prefer watching high friction combat over playing it these days, but a pirate Souls-like sounds insane. And finally, Mass Effect 5 rumors are pointing heavily to BioWare dropping a real cinematic trailer this month. Look, my gaming diet is basically 90% sci-fi RPG, so I'm trying not to buy into the corporate hype, but if they actually show real gameplay, I might lose my mind. And that's the video. Let me know down in the comments which of these picks you're actually planning to play, or what you're hoping gets announced at Summer Game Fest. Don't forget to check out Stratix Gaming for the raw gameplay. I'll definitely upload to that again sooner or later. I'm just focusing on this channel as much as I can. Hit the like button if this saved you some time scrolling through release calendars, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. As always, thank you so much for giving me the time of day. I genuinely do appreciate it. I really hope you did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.